Howdy y'all, welcome back to Rat's Nest Hot Rods. We'll keep this sped up in the beginning because it's boring. Anyway, we are prepping these fender skirts, and also we're going to end up shaving the cowl piece. I'm going to call it a cowl because that's what I think it's called. We're going to shave the windshield wiper holes out of it. So let me get out of the way. It's pretty self-explanatory. Remove the dip, do a little bit of sanding, sandblasting, get it into epoxy, and then get everything into, well, let's not forget welding in the shaving the holes on the cowl. That'll be in there too, and then at the end we'll put 3 coats of poly on it, and that'll be it for this video.
Was it war or peace, or just a battle of wits? Or was it the rising of the red tide? Did you see their armies? Did you hear the bloodhounds tracking through the vacuum of the night? Was there a place to hide? Was your name denied? Did you feel anything when the golden age began to slide? It was so hard to realize that everything had changed, and somehow we had all fallen into the silver age. The silver age. Was it all so casual, just like a handshake? Did it come tearing out of Omaha? Was it just like a movie? Were we all so paranoid? Was the graffiti talking on the warehouse walls? Did you give it all away? Were we safe in the arcade? Did the pearl teeth show any signs of decay? It took me a while to realize that everything had changed, and somehow we had all fallen into the silver age. The silver age.
Alright, on to shaving this cowl. As you can see, the fender skirt's sanded, grinded, taking the dip off, and it's time to template these egg-shaped holes that the windshield wipers come through. Nothing special here, a little cardboard action, and then trace it out, and then we'll be transferring that over to some metal pieces here shortly, and we'll cut on the portavan and some tin snips, and then we'll get into the welding.
The silver age. Yeah, the silver age.
If you guys ain't built one of these for yourself yet, you need to. It's great around the shop for cutting metal. That's a portavan from Harbor Freight, and then just a little stand that I made up myself there in the shop. Several people have them on YouTube. I'm sure you can find one. We'll do some final cutting and get into some welding. Alright, all templated out. Now we're held in place with some small earth magnets that I picked up from Home Depot. And we'll start tacking this in. And to cut a lot of downtime in this out, unfortunately. Well, fortunately for you. Unfortunately for me and anybody else that MIG welds on sheet metal, it warps pretty easy, so take your time with it. and take lots of rest breaks or have another project set up in the corner. It really helps.
Cosmos like a leech. I got the songs for nothing. I got these lyrics for cheap. I got a cowl for your raincoat. I got a fix for your disease. Let's get it sing. Come on, let's get it. I'm apocalyptic. Now you're thinking that this song is just a joke. Well, look at my suitcase full of rope. I got the nights just like an Ethiop. I got tickets to the kingdom, tickets to the kingdom. I got the great codes, hanging with the hangman, hanging with the gramophone. In my pocket I got the payday loan. In my mouth I got the dough. Let's get it sing. Come on, let's get it. I'm apocalyptic. Let's get it sing. Come on, let's get it. I'm apocalyptic.
How about a little blasting, shall we? This is our 40-pound pop blaster from Harbor Freight, shooting recycled glass from Clean Blast. It's a medium grit size, I guess that's what you call it. Works really good for cleaning out the tight spots here and getting it ready for epoxy. Sit tight. Let's speed it up.
Rat poison that I ate, all those chimpanzees I love to hate. I got a falcon for the leg, I got a brand new leather number 8. I got a toothbrush for the heartbreak, I got a water bed full of 8-track tape. I got an F that stands for fuck, and an F that stands for fake.
Okay, time for some rust treatment. This is Rust Prep from Autotech. I get it at Wesco Auto Body Paint and Supply. That's our local dealer here in Washington. Works really good. I like to spray it on freshly blasted metal to get any pits or things that I might have missed. I think it works really good, and the adhesion to it with epoxy primer is very, very good. So I'll spray both sides, and then we'll get into some epoxy primer right about now. Okay, this is a Harbor Freight purple gun. I like to use it for epoxy primer. That's pretty much the only thing I use it for. 1.4 tip. I set it at 40 psi at the wall, so I'd assume it's about 30. Down here at the gun, I don't measure it. I just kind of go by sound and feel. And seemed to work out pretty good for me. This is Omni MP epoxy, and use it on everything. Got to do a little work on this one. It's got a high spot here, as I saw when I started doing the DA to prep it. So I'll knock this down and then we'll get back at her.
Make
As you may have noticed, I epoxied the bottom sides prior to prepping the top. It's just kind of the way I do things. No good reason for it, I guess. So we finished up the prep, as you saw, for the outsides of all these parts, and we're going to spray them out with the same Omni epoxy, same Harbor Freight gun, and nice little kink in the hose there. Don't do that, guys. Anyway, we'll get this laid down and catch those skirts hanging up there in the sky, and we will come back and put the poly on.
I stopped off on my way home, said I'd just have one. But one thing led to another, pretty soon I was drunk. So I tried to call you on the phone, but I didn't get too far. I lay down and fell asleep right there on the bar. But don't you worry, babe, gonna be alright.
Time for some poly. This is Featherfield G2, shot out of an Air Gunsa 3.0 tip, 60 pounds at the wall. I'd guess it in the 45 to 50 range at the gun. And we'll lay this out, and we're going to do 3 coats. I'm not sure I'm going to show them all because this video is getting really damn long, and I don't want to bore the living hell out of everybody. But this gun is awesome for one of the cheaper ones on the market. Maybe not for a 3.0 tip. It's 129 bucks. Picked it up from TCP Global, I believe. It works awesome for the shooting the poly.
Crying every night, 'cause you know I always make it home before the morning light. Don't you worry, babe, gonna be alright. The barman didn't like that much, he said, but you gotta move along. So I wandered out into the dark, but there was something wrong.
One quick tip or something interesting you might try. Dial your fan down after that first and second coat and hit it with a little extra poly in your known low areas, similar to what you would do with body filler, I guess. It works good and gets you a step ahead, I think. And there's no air bubbles, no adhesion problems when you do it this way. I will come back and hit it with a third coat and kind of seal this all down. And then in the videos in the future, we'll be block sanding. Okay, thanks for liking and subscribing. Thanks for the comments, and we will see you next week with an all-new episode of A Modern Car. Peace and grease, sucker.